Hey, Liverpool One Church life groups. I'm so glad that you guys are meeting together and just doing life, doing friendships together. Life groups really are one of the most key and important parts of just all that we're building here at Liverpool One Church. So thanks for being part of one. This Sunday, we're in part 2 of Saving the Nation. We've been picking these nation words over the past couple of weeks, and we've been talking about certain words that you need to avoid. Like last week, we spoke about procrastination. You need to avoid that. But today, we spoke about determination, and that's something that you need to employ. So some nation words you have to avoid, other nation words you have to employ. So we were encouraging you today in church that actually one of the greatest spiritual characteristics that you can add to your faith would be that spiritual characteristic of determination and consistency. We started to explore from the life of Daniel. And he was the guy, don't forget, who really was kidnapped at a young age, and he was basically brought up and raised under the Babylonian rule and empire with the view of him one day going to become a Babylonian king or ruler. But not everybody liked that. Although King Darius was a big fan of Daniel, the other Babylonian men, they were jealous of him. Why? Because Daniel was consistently brilliant. And we all know this is true. It's easy to be great once, very hard to be good, week in, week out. And that's what Daniel was, and it got the attention of King Darius. King Darius, though, he wanted to promote him, but because everybody else didn't want him as an Israelite boy taking the jobs of the Babylonians, they tried to start this smear campaign against him. And then when that didn't work, they made this decree, a law, a rule that said, hey, Daniel, no more praying to your God being the God of Israel. That's not allowed anymore. It's banished from the kingdom. Now, what Daniel did, remembering that he was a faithful, honest, and loyal man, every single day he would fall to his knees and he would still pray to God. And these Babylonian men found out about that and reported him to King Darius. So then King Darius made the decree happen that Daniel should be fed to the lions in the depth of a lion's den. But God knew all that was happening, and he closed the mouth of the lion. And when Daniel came out of the den, it was this miracle. It actually said that he was not harmed in any way because he trusted in God. So this Sunday, we were asking the question, where is it that you learn to trust in God? How do you learn to be determined and consistently trust in God? Because Daniel didn't learn to trust in God in the depth of the den of the lions. Daniel learned to trust in God every time when he would pray on his knees 3 times a day with his window open towards Jerusalem. And I think that the whole premise of this Sunday's message was simply this. There are going to be times in your life where it's going to be easier to quit, where it's going to be easier to not be a man of your word, where it's going to be easier to walk away from what you know to be the right thing in terms of your honoring of God. And yet you're called as a follower of Christ to be determined and to be consistent. So where did Daniel really learn to trust in God? Well, he learned it from his prayer closet, which he probably learned off one of his forefathers, David, who in Psalm 34 verse 3, David writes this about the situation that he was in. He says that I sought the Lord when Saul was trying to kill him in the same way that they were trying to destroy Daniel. David says, I sought the Lord and he heard and he rescued me from all of my fears. He delivered me from all of my fears. And that's our prayer, is that in everything that comes into your life that's challenging, that you would choose to seek God first. That when the times when you feel like you're not that determined and you're not consistent, seek God first. So that in the times and seasons when your spiritual life feels weak, you can be made strong because you're determined and you're courageous and you're consistently seeking God, knowing that he hears you and that he will deliver you from all of your fears. So have a great night at Life Group. My first question tonight is simply this. What are the areas in your life that maybe you feel God challenging you to be more consistent and more determined? Have a great night, guys.